Tim and Fuzz are back with the landmark Series 10th of Car S.O.S. Yes, Series 10. And it's not the only landmark, because in this series they're also going to be doing their 100th car. Now, I spoke to them almost exactly a year ago when they were introducing Series 9, and here they are again to talk about not only this forthcoming series, but also their time at the British Motor Show where I last met them. And stick to the end, because there's a little exclusive maybe of where they may be taking Car S.O.S. next, or maybe the next evolution of it. Stand by for that in this incredible interview.
Hello, mate.
Hello. How you guys doing?
Yeah, great to see you again. Yeah.
Where are you, Tim?
I'm at home, but I live in the hills up in Manchester. So I'm in a car, but just got a lovely view out there. Look, there's the lake down there, and there's the train track there, and there are the hills up there. This is the hills up in Lancashire.
Wow, it's beautiful. So I last met you guys at the Motor Show, the British Motor Show in August last year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
how did you find that?
Loved it.
That was a great show, and it kind of, for me, it kind of harked back to the motor shows of old, when that you used to have, where you would have classic sections within a sort of motor shows, sort of also displaying new cars, and I really enjoy that. You have so many more cars, and I got to see new stuff that
you did get to see anything. We were absolutely rammed out. We didn't even make it out of our hole.
There's new stuff there that you wouldn't otherwise trip over. So I just thought it was great for balancing it all out. So you had cars for everyone. From the old doggerers like Tim through to the young guys like me,
like you.
You didn't get out of that hole. You didn't come down and see me, because I was over at hole 5 all the way down the end doing all the electric car stuff.
Yeah.
So.
No, we didn't.
That leads us on to we're doing our 100th car now, and we have embraced the dark side, and we're doing an electric conversion of a car that I can't tell you what it is.
It's not the
dark. No, I know. I'll come to that in a minute. Well, just to finish the British Motor Show stuff, or just to congratulate you guys. What I found was absolutely wonderful, and I did a little video with you at the time, was that you weren't just celebrities on a stage, but you were there with the people, mingling with everybody. You were greeting people every morning at the doors to the motor show. It was absolutely awesome to see. Car S.O.S, the car show with a heart, but I would say the presenters with a heart as well, because I think you certainly spread the love over those 3-4 days. That was absolutely fantastic to see. That was absolutely wonderful.
I'll tell you what, our shins are still recovering, because everybody came in and gave us a kick.
Yeah, but you know what the thing is, though, Shaz, it's like one of those where Fuzz and I don't see ourselves as celebrities. In fact, that's the kind of word that I think we both slightly wince at. We have the best. We have the best job on. Well, no, but exactly, we have the best job on the planet. We love doing what we're doing, and the one thing's for sure is if it's petrol heads, if it's people that like the show and like cars, we're going to get on with them. So we see all these people as being our friends, and we want to meet our friends. So that's kind of, I think, our approach to it, really.
Yeah, the thing is, we're at car shows and at events that we would like to go to anyway. Look, don't tell anybody that, for God's sake.
No, but do you find that you can, because as being let's not use the word celebrity anymore, but let's say recognizable faces. Do you find that you can just go to car shows when you feel like it, or to meets and stuff and mingle with people? Is that something that you regularly do, or you find that it's easy to do, or a bit awkward?
Yeah, well, we can do. I sort of like go to a few shows and here.
Let's be honest, Fuzz. Let's be honest, right? Here's the thing. All the other guys from all the other shows generally go to car shows and get paid stonkingly huge amounts of money. Fuzz and I go for the love of it, and we're the cheapest guys there, which is the truth, Fuzz. But we don't mind. I mean, I'm going to the restoration show in a couple of weeks, as is Fuzz. We're not being paid. We're just going for the fun of it and going to say hello to people.
I am actually being paid.
Oh, you're being paid? Okay, well, I'm not. Fine. Okay, well, that's fine. But do you know what? As human beings, you know what? Cars come first, money comes second. That our love of cars was what got us into into this show 10 years ago, and it started as a tiny little show, on National Geographic with a small budget, and it's grown into something that it is today. But ultimately, the whole show started from our love of cars, and it's still there, and that'll never change. And that's the one thing that keeps us all together.
And that's the thing. This is the 10th. So congratulations, 10th series. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, 2013 was it when you guys started? Did you imagine that you'd be getting to the 10th? And I imagine you're probably working on the 11th series, or you're planning it. I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? Fuzz, do you remember the conversation standing outside Westgate where I went, right, dude, how do you think we'll come back for another one? And you went, I doubt it. I went, yeah, I doubt it as well. But imagine if we come back for number 2, and here we are at 10.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we didn't know, and in fact, most of the time, we rarely know from one series to the next if we're going to do another one. It just so happens that this, that recently, National Geographic have commissioned 2 series in a row. So we're kind of, we're slightly, I know we're sitting slightly easier, but in a way, we're still waiting for somebody to go, actually, nah,
it's on. Yeah, totally. Or it's on.
So we're always waiting for that. So we never know what we're going to be doing from one year to the next. Which is the thing, Shaz, when we're making it, we put everything that we can into it.
Yeah, and it's become a bit of a sort of, I don't want to say national treasure, but it's become a show that's so loved. I get stopped just Fuzz by people you'd never expect to get stopped by. Yesterday, an 18-year-old girl in Screwfix wanting a photo, and I said, "Really, how did you get into Car S.O.S?" And she said, "I've been watching it with my dad since the age of 9." And you forget of the importance. It's not me, it's not Fuzz. It's the connection that the show has with cars and with people, and that's why people watch it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a family show. I mean, as I said to you last time when we spoke, when we interviewed about Series 9, I said it's the only car show that leaves grown men weeping at the end, but in a good way. But that's interesting because it was almost a year ago that we spoke about Series 9, and a year on, we're now talking about Series 10. And, that's 10 cars that you're doing. I mean, this is a hard slog to do this stuff. I mean, are you still finding it as fun and exciting and I suppose ultimately as satisfying as when you first started out doing it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we've got that dual-edged sword really, which is we're not just doing cars. We're sort of getting somebody's enthusiasm, somebody's dream back on track. So we've got 2 things on the go. So it gives us more of an incentive rather than just doing a car. It's more than that. These cars are just part of the story. And
let's be honest, Fuzz. We both have a disease, Shaz. Fuzz and I have a disease, which I think you might have as well, which is a love of cars that will never fade or never die, no matter what happens. I love cars, as does Fuzz. I always have from being a young boy, as has Fuzz. And if you're addicted or you have an obsession with chocolate, you'll never get bored of it. So for us, we just get excited. I don't want to. I know National Geographic are listening to this, but we would pay for the experiences we have working on cars that we dreamt of one day getting our greasy mitts on.
Yeah. So Fuzz and I often 100 cars.
Yeah.
That we've done. So we've had insight into 100 different vehicles, and how they're built, how to restore them, how they operate, how they drive, all of those kinds of things. These are, that's dream stuff for most people.
And like you say, I mean, that's the other milestone. It's not just the 10th series, but it's the 100th car that you've done, which is incredible. And you just spoke very eloquently about the fact that you learned so much about these cars that you've done over time. But like you said, there's 2 parts to this, because as I always say, cars are nothing but beautiful static objects until you hear about the stories. And it's the stories that make the cars. So there's not just 100 cars, but it's 100 stories that you've worked on there.
Yeah, and it's so important. You realize when you pick these cars up, and I'm the guy that does the interview, and Fuzz and I always have a chat in the car on the way back when we're often without the cameras there, and Fuzz will say, what was this, what was that, and when you look into the eyes of the family who nominated their loved one, and you see the eyes well up, and you see the sincerity and the sort of drive, the importance of this ultimately, as you say, a static object which is sitting rotting in their garage, but you see the importance of that. a little bit of that energy, you suck it up, you leave with it. And Fuzz and I both do this thing where we kind of look at each other, draw a breath and go, right, here's another one. Let's make this the absolute best we can. And that's the thing. We're human. You care. You can't not, because at the end of the day, we will be judged. We're going to do a wonderful thing, which is a life-changing event for some lucky person to get given their dream car back, done, ready, they can take out. And we're at every reveal. So we see that penny drop moment when the person realizes they've been Car S.O.S. And there's no value. You can't put a price on the value of that. It's absolutely priceless. So we want to make that event as wonderful as possible, because life is so full of tough things that happen, and life is a struggle. But to do something lovely to somebody who really deserves it, we're in such a privileged position, and there'll never be a day when Fuzz and I don't care anymore. It just will not happen. No chance.
And Fuzz, I mean, I've got to say, your perseverance and your patience. I mean, most recently I watched the episode when you did the ice cream van. Right. The Bedford, and the state that it was in. I mean, anybody else would have just said it's just a hopeless case.
Well, that's right. Well, it was. It was a hopeless case. I went to I went to recce that car, that van. Where it was in in a back garden in Manchester before we took it on, and I had to say to the production company, I had to say, well, that's a no, because we won't be able to do this anywhere near within the budget. So I had to say no. That's the advice I had to give them. But they decided that they wanted to do it.
Well,
it's such a strong
story. I remember that exactly. It was the story. I remember you. I remember the conversation. Try saying no to this story. And do you know what? I'll tell you something, Shaz. That ice cream van lives 5 miles from where I am now, and I hear stories about it. Just living locally in and around this area, I hear stories about it all the time and how it's changed their life. And actually speaking, the funny thing is, it's mind over matter to some extent. We meet people who are very ill, but then they get their cars back on track again, and it gives them a reason to live again. And in a way, it's a form of medication. This is helping people, giving people a reason to get out of bed or to be positive and get out there. And Babs now and the family get out there in the ice cream van and have a reason to want to take it to shows and celebrate their life and their heritage of selling ice cream. So, it's amazing what they do.
That's a good point, actually, because I was talking to somebody the other day who was saying that, it's kind of therapy in a way for a lot of people. Cars can sort of lift people out of deep depressions and stuff like that, and can help their just mental well-being, really. And so if you give somebody back something that has to them become a bit of a millstone, if they walk past it every other day and look at it and go, oh no, I'm never going to get that, and it does become
it grinds you down a little bit.
Yeah, it does. But then if it's done, it's like, wow, now it's in a situation where I can just keep on top of it, and suddenly life has changed. So
classic cars are an antidepressant. Yeah, they are an anti. If you're struggling emotionally, if you get yourself a classic car to work on, or a hobby, as I keep telling my children. But classic cars for me, I'm rebuilding 6 at the moment personally, and they keep me so distracted from the reality of the madness of my head. I think I stay relatively sane thanks to classic cars. They help me every day.
Talking of helping, talking of helping people, I mean, the stories that you have, they're quite epic, and I know you've got a couple of amazing stories in the next series as well. I mean, there's one particular story about the Citroen camionette van, which is another conversion in this case, into a milkshake truck and a coffee van. But the story that goes with that is truly moving. Tell me about that one.
That was a young woman called Darcy, who very unfortunately lost her mother at the Manchester Arena bombing a few years ago. So Darcy was out with her friend, and both girls' mums were unfortunately caught in the blast and killed. So so there's a young woman who has had her sort of later teenage years defined by an event, and so the object of the exercise was to sort of try and sort of move on. Move on. But the dream was that her mum and her were going to sort of run this smoothie van have a little bit of a business and stuff like that. Unfortunately, of course, you know, a mother didn't live to see this, but you know, keeping that dream on track was something that her father wanted to do, and you know, her family wanted to do for her, and so now she can move ahead, because she's, you know, she's not the young woman who lost her mum in the Manchester Arena bombing anymore. She's the woman who's got that little business that's going to be on the go.
We invest, you know, we invest in every time we sit down with somebody and hear their story. That becomes right there, and that becomes our drive. And you know, it's funny how you do one, you give them their vehicle back, you put a big smile on their face, and you have to walk away from it and disconnect. Although Fuzz and I do stay in touch with these people wherever we possibly can.
Yeah, whenever they want to, you know.
Yeah, we sort of, it is on to the next one, and then you sit down and you see the pain in the family's eyes of their particular loved one's story, and that's when instantly you just think, wow, you know, there are so many cars so closely connected to people's lives all over the country. They play such an important role in people's lives. And you know what? It's the success of such things like the repair shop. You can see that in people's eyes. But I think in particular with Car S.O.S, I think Car S.O.S has been one of the sort of catalysts that's brought about, you know, these sort of shows in television, because it's not just cars, but in particular, I think it is cars. I mean, I would say that as a petrol, but we need people.
It's the emotional sensitivity towards this thing. I think you guys bring in an incredible amount of emotional sympathy to this thing, and it's very, very important. But you also bring some big names. I mean, you've got a few stars in this one. You've got Sir Paul McCartney. That's amazing. You've got David Beckham and Edd China, the return of Edd China. Is he going to be doing more stuff on the show? Or
let's put it this way. I mean, Edd China makes a little bit of a cameo role on this, but I think, you know, he's a big name in the automotive restoration world, and I think he just wanted to show his allegiance to of the different restoration shows out there. He had the choice of a couple, and he chose us to come and say hello on and have some fun with us. So what does that tell you?
and David Beckham, is he involved in the car, in the 100th car that you're doing, which you're converting to electric?
No, he's not on the 100th car, but man, that guy can tune an engine, let me tell you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No. Do you know what the thing is? You know, what we've learned after being on television for 10 years now, it's amazing how far Car S.O.S has traveled, and it is that show that, for example, if you are a footballer, like we've also found out that, you know, well, there are so many big names around the world that are big fans of the show, and it's just a bizarre thing.
It's a surprising thing, isn't it? You know, it's like
Paul McCartney likes it. What? David Beckham. And you wonder why that would happen. So Fuzz and I never think about who's watching the show. We just do the job in hand, and we just get on with it and have fun and do the nice thing of giving their car back. But David Beckham, you know, did something which he never normally does, which is he did a personal video message for Jerry. Jerry, who is a massive football fan. And when we met the family, they said, look, you know, to have a message from one of his favorite or all-time favorite footballer would just be a phenomenal thing. So, you know, it's funny how when you reach out to these people and try and get in contact with them, you normally, with experience of other shows, you get sorry, they're way too busy. But when you hear back and they go, oh yeah, fan of the show, not a problem, we'll do this, we'll do that. You know, David took his time out and did a video message for Jerry, specifically talking about his favorite cars growing up. Because here's the other thing, you know, you stop most people in the street and say, name your favorite car from being a teenager. David Beckham went Clio Williams, you know, straight away, you know, and he mentions that, and it's a reminder of the fact that cars play such an important and have played such an important part in people's lives, even in the likes of David Beckham's life. So to have him on the show was just put a big smile and made it for us. It was all about, at the beginning of the show when we picked that car up, I said to Fergus, the guy who we were interviewing, so let's create the perfect day for Jerry, because he's a guy with final stages of cancer, and he's, you know, it's one of those sort of palliative things to some extent. And I said, right, the perfect day, what would it be? And he said, well, getting his Uno Turbo done, having it as he had it when he was 21 or 22, driving around in it. And he mentioned, he joked and said, and David Beckham. I was like, what? David Beckham? He said, yeah, he's a massive football fan. So then I just thought, and Fuzz and I had a chat. We went, you know what? Let's actually try. So it was us two that got hold of Beckham. It wasn't a production company going to do it.
I doff my cap to you, actually, Tim. It was you that managed to pull that one off. So, you know, but you know, Tim's done a brilliant job of being able to approach these people. But he's quite right. It's quite right in what he says, that it's because the show is well loved and people are out there watching it, then it's people, those people out there, those celebrities, those proper celebrities are, they know what it's about. So it's not like, we don't have to explain to them. We don't have to, we haven't had to go through their people so much as, if the celebs still know the show, they generally tend to love it and they'll go, yeah, I get it.
I'll do that. Yeah.
So that's episode 1, which comes out on the 10th of March, 8 o'clock on the National Geographic Channel. So just before we go, I asked you this question last time. The show is getting bigger and better, and you're doing bigger and bigger and more epic stuff. When are you going to go international with it?
Well, we already have gone international. So the show plays around the world anyway. But
I know what you mean.
As far as going international, we did a car in Denmark. We've done a car in France.
Let me say something. Let me say something first. I've lined up a company right in India that we're going to fly out to, and I've yet to talk to the channel about it, but I've renamed the show Car S.O.S World Tour.
Awesome. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do. Yeah, that would be good. That would be.
Guys, thank you so much. It's been wonderful to catch up with you again. I will see you at the British Motor Show. And until then, take care. I'm looking forward to the series. Okay. Thanks so much.
Dude.
Bye.
Tim and Fuzz are back.
Classic cars are magic!
And they've pulled out all the stops.
Look at that!
For the brand new 10th season of Car S.O.S. with an absolutely stellar lineup.
It's an absolute animal.
With special guests David Beckham and Sir Paul McCartney.
Well, you like it?
I love it.
Don't be so soppy. Come on, let's get on with it.
That's definitely a reason to celebrate. And it looks like it's going off with a whiz. A pop. And a splat. Can Tim and Fuzz spruce up these motors?
Every single component I'm looking at here is shot.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And make another automotive dream come true.
No way! I can actually see you shaking.
Oh, it's unreal.
Celebrate the brand new 10th season of Car S.O.S. Coming soon to National Geographic.
A big shout out and thanks to Jay Williams over at Air Technic, who are top tier sponsors of Brown Car Guy. Check them out at Air Technic Co. UK for exhausts, brakes, suspension and body kits. Plus our other major sponsor, Nayagen Solutions. Much appreciation also to Tier 4 sponsors, Muhammad Ali Humaid, Tom Conway Gordon and Reza Adil. And of course all these other guys who supporting on Patreon. Brown Car Guy is eternally grateful. Hey, think about joining them over at patreon.com Brown Car Guy. If you can't, don't worry. Just make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube channel and website. Plus follow on social media by searching for Brown Car Guy.